Hey guys, so this is going to be an unboxing, but it's not going to be a secret of what this is. I'll just put it. This is going to be a Hanshew Jump Cue is what it's supposed to be. So I just got it. I'm a little bit confused because I don't know what 22 means, and it's so important that it's written twice. I don't know what that's all about. So I'll show you. Look at this fancy shit. If you've watched any of my other unboxings, I've progressed from fingernail clippers to just blades, and now I've got this fancy ass thing. So moving on up, as George Jefferson used to say, and we'll see if I can get this unboxed. Jump cues. Well, there are a lot of rules in a lot of tournaments against jump cues, and generally I would consider that to be a whiny crybaby rule. Kind of like if you make a ball and break in one pocket, you got to re-break. Kind of like you got to make 3 balls past the head string on a break in 9 ball, stuff like that. Whiny crybabies, but jump cues, I kind of agree with that rule. I kind of like the idea of a cue and then you shoot with it. And then a jump cue it's clearly not cheating if it's allowed in the rules, but it just seems a little bit dishonest to me. Like, you know, look at like golfers. Golfers will have like a million different clubs. I don't golf, so maybe it's not quite a million, but it's a freaking lot. They pay somebody to carry their shit around for them because they have too many things. It's just, I like the idea of just having a cue and shooting with it. Now, I'm going to contradict myself, and I'm going to say break cues. I have break cues, and I like the idea of it. But the reason I like the idea of a break cue is not so much that it's going to make me break better. It's that I don't have to worry about messing up my shooting cue, my shooting tip specifically, flattening it out too early or whatever. You know, the good break cues that are out there, I'm certain that they do allow people to break better. But that's not why. You know, my break cue is a Sean. It has a hard tip on it, but it's not a Sean break cue. It's not a Predator power pumper breaker. It's not anything like that. So anyway, I'm probably contradicting myself when I say I'm not a big fan of break cues. And part of the reason for that is, you know, I play bank pool and I play one pocket 99.99999% of the time. And the last time I jumped a ball in any kind of competition, crap. I bet it was the mid 90s when I was playing 9 ball quite a bit. So they're not important to me, and I'm not any good with them. You'll probably see that when I do my ceremonial first shot. So this is a Hanshew Jump Cue, and the reason that I got a Hanshew Jump Cue, because I already have some jump cues, I'll show you them, is because he does a lot of sponsoring of tournaments, and he's supporting the industry, and I'm going to support him by buying his thing. Plus, I've always heard they're really good quality jump cues, and you can, jump really well with them on it. So it's just in the two. I'm calling this an unboxing, but it's really an untubing. And so we'll just take it out of the bubble wrap. And the kitties were all excited. There's 3 of them down there watching me. Look, kitty, cat toy. Now they're all excited because there's a new tube to play with. So just some bubble wrap. This is actually not taped at all, which is cool because usually they'll have some kind of clear tape, which makes it almost impossible to take it out. So what I ordered was the charcoal the charcoal butt with a Purple Heart. So this is the butt section. You can see his little logo there. And charcoal, which is another word for gray. I'm sure there's a reason for this to be like that. I'm sure there's a reason. Maybe I'll find that out. And then the shaft is all Purple Heart. This thing looks really like. There's some more cat toys for the cats. The shaft is all Purple Heart. Just a little bit of trivia. Purple Heart was until very recently my least favorite wood in a pool cue. It's not anymore. I have a couple of cues out there that have some Purple Heart and they look decent. So my new least favorite wood in a cue, if this ever comes up in Jeopardy or something, Cocobolo. Can't stand it. Can't stand it. So this guy, this is, like I said, this is just a shaft. And there is no tip on this cue. Apparently it's just all this. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. And that's pretty flat, but I guess maybe they're supposed to be because it's a jump cue. And it's probably some type of space age material. I'll tell you what, the shaft doesn't feel particularly smooth. I'm definitely going to have to smooth it out a little bit. It does feel just a little bit rough. Like it could have used an extra couple swipes with sandpaper. Not a huge deal. It surprises me. I don't know what that is, 3/8 by 10 or whatever. For some reason I thought it was going to be like a unilock. It's not. And I wanted to check this out. You can see there's a seam from where the gray and the Cocobolo, I want to see if that's separated. And it does. So that would be for, I guess, cases where this is too long, maybe you need to do a dark stroke or something like that. And it also looks like a 3/8 by 10. This is probably all some interchangeable shit. I'm going to try something, which may void my warranty, but I'm going to take this shaft and just the Purple Heart portion and see if they fit together. And they do, but they don't match as far as diameter goes. I guess I found that interesting. I'm not entirely sure if I did or not. I'm not entirely sure if any of you guys will or not. So I am not a jump ball guy. I don't know how to do it. I know how to do it, but I'm not any good at it. I've said in a couple of videos in the past that knowing how to do something is almost useless. You really and truly learn by doing it, and you maintain that knowledge by doing it more often. As I said, it's probably been close to 30 years since I jumped a ball in competition. So my ceremonial first shot here is probably going to be laughable. And this is going to be one of the cases where if I miss that ceremonial first shot, I'm not going to throw the cue in the trash because I'm not expecting to make the ceremonial first shot with this. Because I'm going to shoot an actual jump shot. It's not going to be much of one. Don't get all excited. It's not going to be much of a jump shot. It's going to be something. I'm not sure if I'm even supposed to put chalk on this thing that's supposed to be a tip or whatever. I'm entirely not sure. I'm not going to. I guess this may be a decoration thing that they want to do for that. If you wanted to do like shaft jumping, well, you couldn't, because this would be gone if you took, I don't know. So we're going to do ceremonial first shot. Again, I can miss this, and it's not going to be the end of the world for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to take, there's exactly one ball width right there now, and then I'm just going to shrink it a little bit. Just a little bit, not a lot. It's probably 3/4 of a ball with. I don't shoot jump shots. Notice how I got my fingers on the rail to give me that elevation that I always feel like I need. Got to hit the stupid ball in the. What I always heard about jump shots, and I guess I believe it, is what I'm trying to do is visualize the exact center of the cue ball, not the center of the face of it, but the center way down deep inside there. And I'm not trying to aim at that center, but just a little bit below it. Sorry guys, I'm having a coughing fit. Just a little bit below that center, at an elevated angle, of course, and that's what I'm trying to do, and we'll see what happens. So this will be my first shot with a Hanshew Jump Cue ever, and my first shot with a jump cue, well, in a long time. I got other things I want to show you. Hey, made it! Yay! I'm gonna scratch. All right, so that was cool. Now that the whole unboxing, this, you know what? I'm probably going to put this in my case. I don't know if I am or not. I don't generally carry jump cues in my case. Like next week, I'm going to New Orleans, and I'll probably have one down there with me then. But usually I don't. I don't know if I want to put this in my case or not, and lug it around. Or if I just want to just put it over here. I have a little spot where I have my existing jump cues. I honestly don't know. I'm so rarely ever going to use one of these. And it's because I don't feel comfortable with them. I feel more comfortable with a kick shot. And then there's that little part of it that's like I said, it just seems a little bit dishonest to me to have a special cue just for jumping. I definitely agree with Earl Strickland in this regard, where he's like, hey, jump the balls all you want, but use your shooting cue to do it. I definitely agree with him on that. Anyway, it's absolutely pretty. Oh, it's got a, I didn't know it was going to do that. I didn't know much of it. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a signature. It looks nice. The Purple Heart against the gray looks nice. More Purple Heart down here. Got the, I said this before, my camera has got a lens and it's got a screen. And I'm constantly holding stuff up to the screen and going, look at this. And the lens isn't seeing it. Constantly. I would probably never get over that particular habit. So there's that. And now that I've talked about this jump cue, I'm just going to briefly talk about my other ones. One of these I've talked about before, and the other ones I believe are brand new to my channel. This here is a bungee jumper, and I actually have two of these. I'm not entirely sure why I have two. If I have an official jump cue, before this one, it was this bungee jumper. I won this at Super Billiards Expo about 2000, whenever it was that I went there, and they had a little deal where if you made 3 jump shots, that they selected for you, you got to win a cue. You got to win a bungee jump, and I did it, and I won one. Yeah, I don't know why I have two. I know I never bought one. I think I may have bought another cue at some point, and they threw in a bungee jumper or something like that. But this guy actually has a tip on it that is probably 20 years old, and you see how thick the damn thing is still. But for my limited ability, it's been just fine, and I've hardly ever used it. You don't do a lot of jump shots in bank pull in one pocket. Sorry, but you just don't. So I want to talk a little bit about this guy here. This guy here is not a jump cue. This guy here, let me set this down. This guy here actually is a Sneaky Pete, where I sawed off part of it and then glued the bumper back on. That's all this is. And I did this 2 or 3 times in my life, the early 90s. where I wanted a jump cue. Back then I was mainly playing like bar table 8 ball. I wanted a jump cue, but I didn't want to spend any money on a jump cue. So I'd go spend $30 or whatever it was back then on a Stinky Pete, and saw the end off, glue the bumper on, and then I've got a jump cue. This probably sucks compared to this J Hanshew. This is probably horrible, but it gave me the likeness, and it made me feel like I had a jump cue. Whether I really had one or not, it made me feel like I did. I bet this thing is from 1990 or so, and it's got the same tip on it as it's always had. Probably just an Elk Master. Don't use this. Don't use any of this stuff. And the other one I want to talk about is this guy, which is, I don't know, this was an internet purchase. So this guy here is called a, Doc, can you read that? Probably not. It's called a popper jump cue. And it's not even wood, it's, I don't know, fiberglass or aluminum or something. It's very light. It's got, again, no tip, just like that Hanshew. It's probably the same material as that Hanshew, just this thing here. And the reason I bought this is the reason I bought this thing. It's because I'm watching a thing on YouTube, and a guy went like this. And I'm not going to do this, okay? Oh, that's another thing is, back in the day when I would ever be inclined to use a jump cue, it was usually on well, back then we called it felt. I don't know what it was on the tables, but it wasn't Simonis. Well, whatever that was, you could jump a ball much more easily on that felt than now. So I have Simonis on this table. But the reason I bought this thing is there was a guy on YouTube that took like a dollar bill and separated these two balls. Yep. So you did that. You put another ball over here, and he did a dark stroke at it. Anyway, he made the ball, and I'm like, well, that's pretty freaking awesome, right? And then the next thing he did, he set up the same bullshit again. He put a dollar bill between those. I've got a couple dollars of a gap there. And he did the same kind of bullshit. And he went straight up in the air. And you see how good I haven't jumped? Anyway, the cue ball went up in the air and came back down like that and put that ball in here. I was like, well, that's the coolest thing I've seen in a couple weeks. So I bought this just for that reason. This has never left my basement. I would never take this to any place in public, even if I was some kind of a jump cue aficionado, because I would imagine something like this would be really frowned upon. This is, in my opinion, absolutely cheating, whereas maybe something like one of these is only cheating if you're of a mindset like me. You're an old guy, old dogs don't learn new tricks, that type of thing. But so there's my unboxing, and this is a nice looking jump cue. Okay, I don't know how these cues stack up performance wise, to the other jump cues that are out there these days. I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't care. All I know is I watch all these pay-per-views and tournaments, and I see J Hanshew's logo sponsoring all these tournaments. And I appreciate that, and I know that the players that are in those things appreciate that. So this is one of the ways I show my appreciation, is by buying his stuff, which is why he's one of the main reasons that anybody would sponsor anything, I would guess, is so people will turn around and buy their stuff. And so that's what I did. And I'm going to mess around with this a little bit, but it's not going to be like my other new cues that I get, where I'm going to play with it for a few days and really get used to it and all that. It's not going to. I'm just going to mess around with this. I'm probably going to compare it to the bungee jumper, which I'm most used to, and just kind of see how are they, how do they compare, and all that. This is absolutely higher quality than the bungee jumper. It's absolutely newer and prettier than the bungee jumper. Is any of that really important for a cue that I never, ever, ever, ever use? Probably not. But there it is. And so we'll, now I have one, and I don't have to worry about it. If I get into a freaking 9-ball tournament or something, and they allow these things, they allow jump cues, then I can pull out a really nice one and miss the shot with it instead of missing with a less nice jump cue. If you're gonna miss, you may as well miss with something pretty, I guess. And that's my plan. Thanks, guys.